schedule, so we appreciate you taking time out, but it's worth it because of the people who are involved in this fantastic event, primarily Meijer with Kathy Cooper and Eisenhower Center, and John will be up here to speak in a little bit. I've always felt like being a Michigander, that growing up in this great state of Michigan, it's about community, it's about giving back, it's about caring for one another. I can't think of two better people who lead their organizations who define that better than these two people who represent these two wonderful organizations. So it's an honor for me to be here. It's an honor for me to work with these people as often as I can. And I think we're really lucky in the state of Michigan that has great golfing for just a short period of time to have an event like this. So let me introduce Kathy Cooper, who's the mainstay in this and really gets this thing going. Kathy?
Man, thank you. Those were great words to open, and we're very appreciative. We're even more appreciative to be here and to be able to have this special morning. So I'm Kathy Cooper, Executive Director of the Meijer LPGA Classic, and first and foremost, I want to thank you all for joining us here this morning to celebrate our 6th annual Meijer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. We want to thank Top Golf this morning also for having us here. We think this is a great location. Fortunately, the weather's wonderful, and that really kind of makes it an even more special day. We're also pleased that LPGA professional Mariah Stackhouse could join us today. Thank you for coming. Yeah. I asked her where she came from. She said Atlanta, and I said, it's warmer there, isn't it? And you said yes. So anyway, and to you, Matt, for the Detroit Tigers, and you, Matt, for being here. This is pretty special for all of us, so thank you.
I appreciate it, yeah. Like I said, it's special for me to be here, too, and to golf with Mariah and some of her, the people who make the LPGA such a great event and a great tour. It's very humbling. If you think you're pretty good at golf, play with some of these women and you will realize just how difficult the game is. Not that we don't already, right? We already know how difficult the game is. It can be very frustrating, but to see them get out there and take advantage of their skill set and do what they do, it's incredible. There's a lot of interesting and neat things that are about to take place with this event. I don't know how familiar you are with this event, but it's special. And all you have to do is be out there on the grounds in West Michigan and recognize how special it is, how important it is to Meijer, to Eisenhower Center, but to the people of this state. I've been talking with a friend of mine, Jeff Lesson, about this. There's not enough golf events in the state of Michigan, right? We really embrace this sport. This is a great sports state. This is what we have. And for Meijer to be at the forefront of this and have these talented women out there is pretty special. So I'm excited to be here too. I want to ask you first thing before we jump back into the program, why you think this is so vital to the state and why Meijer is so behind an event like this.
Well, that's a great question. And if you know Meijer, we're all about doing everything we can to support the community and feeding the hungry. And so when you look at bringing a great event like an LPGA event to Michigan and bringing it back to Michigan and doing it in a way that supports our core values and feeding the hungry, which is just a major, major thing for us, the two come together beautifully. So we're not only supporting our state and bringing a great event, but we're supporting our state and the people in our local communities by feeding the hungry and doing it through the Meijer LPGA Classic and Simply Give.
Beautiful. Well done. I don't want to put her on the spot. I don't follow scripts very well, so I'm going to ask Mariah to just step forward for a moment. She's made the cuts in 20 of the last 26 in 2018. She had a career best tied for 7th finish at the ShopRite LPGA Classic presented by Acer. She's already played in the Meijer LPGA Classic twice. We welcome her back for her 3rd year. If you don't mind, could you stand up? I saw you swinging earlier. Man, it was awesome. I would ask you why this event, what this event means to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what is it?
Yes. So thank you for that introduction, Matt, and thank you all for having me here today. I I really look forward to completing in the 6th annual Meijer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. My peers and I consider this one of the best events on tour, and it's because the community is so supportive. We travel around the world to play golf, and I particularly enjoy this event because of that support and for what the tournament does for those who are hungry. You know, I echo what you say in that this community, this tournament really stands for something. And so it's a privilege to be able to come and compete in an event that treats the spectators and fans who come out so well and really puts on an event to make this event something memorable for everyone who participates. So I'm really honored to be competing in this again. And I look forward to seeing the state of Michigan and Grand Rapids out there again in a couple weeks.
What do you like about the state of Michigan and Grand Rapids? We just saw the PGA Championship. Brooks Koepka was ridiculed on a few holes by their local fans. I don't think we do that here. What do you like about Grand Rapids and the state of Michigan when you compete?
I echo what I said earlier. I mean, you can feel the spectator support out there, and they're some of the biggest crowds that we have all year, might actually just be the biggest. And I say that as we get big crowds for majors on the weekend, but we get crowds for Meijer every single day. And that's really special, and it makes it fun for us to come and compete.
All right, lastly, what's the challenge of that course?
The rough there is always really healthy and really thick, so if you're not in the fairway, you're probably not getting to the green, and that's just that. So it requires shot making, it requires strategy, but the plus side to that is when you're hitting the fairways and you're hitting the greens are perfect pretty much, and so you're going to have an opportunity to roll some putts if you're giving yourself close enough opportunities.
We've got a new favorite LPGA. Thank you, Mariah. Way to go. Way to go. Look, it's, I don't think Meijer just does this by themselves, right? We've got some really high-end and friends of mine, too, who are part of the Pro-Am, too. So I'm excited to look into that. And just to mention a few names, one of them is a friend of mine who's already here, Darren McCarty, a champion for the Stanley Cup Red Wings 4 times over. Darren is here. Darren, can you stand up for us? You talk about a guy who is all Detroit. Darren is that. I know he doesn't live here year-round, but he's a... You do now. All right, thanks, buddy. He is as good a dude as you'll ever meet, and I mean that sincerely. I don't say that just because he's here. I love hanging out with Darren. Drew Stanton will be here, too, for Meijer, which is impressive. Drew Stanton, former Cardinals and Lions quarterback. Joe Koser, a friend and a teammate of Darren's. Heather Mitz. Drew Neitzel will be here, who played for Michigan State as a point guard. Earl Curitan, good friend of mine who played at UAD, won a championship with the Sixers and the Pistons. Rod Wood, the Lions president, will be part of it. Mark Aguirre, former NBA champion with the Pistons twice over. Isaiah Thomas, perhaps the greatest Piston of all time. Joe Theismann, who's won a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins. Trey Wingo, who used to work in Flint, by the way, and is now on ESPN. Mark Schlereth, who used to join him there and I believe is now part of our Fox family. Mike Knuble, another friend of Darren's who has won a cup with the Red Wings, also played with the Flyers, played at the University of Michigan. Mark Brunell will be here. Mark Brunell was an outstanding quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars primarily and played at the University of Washington. And Stacy Slobodnik will also be part of the Pro-Am. So there's an opportunity to go out there and measure yourself against some of the best who've ever played in their various sports, and an opportunity for you to get a picture or two. How did you come about that list? And is it growing? I think it's growing still, isn't it?
It continues to grow every day. But, you know, if you know anything about us, and, you know, obviously we're with the Detroit Tigers as well, a sponsor.
Sure.
But, you know, Meijer is so heavily involved in the community, and that includes youth sports all the way up to collegiate and professional sports. And so, you know, because of that, we're such a strong supporter. We have a lot of friends that do come to help us in this mission to feed the hungry. And so, you know, people like Darren and the whole crew that's coming this year, it's all through relationships and things like that we get these people to come join us.
All right, so how will we break this down? How do we break it down for the people who are participating in that pro-am? Teams are going to consist of 1 LPGA Tour professional, 1 veteran, and 3 amateurs, right?
Yes, so this year we are announcing a new pro-am that will actually kick off the week. And it's the Meijer LPGA Classic Veterans Pro-Am, and it is in conjunction with the Eisenhower Center, and we have John Cornack here today, who's actually going to talk to us a little bit about the partnership. But what will happen is in this Pro-Am, it will take place on Monday at 1 o'clock out at Blythefield Country Club, and it's the first one, 20 teams, and those teams will be comprised of an LPGA player, a veteran, and then 3 amateurs.
Love
So
it. It's
all
beautiful.
playing to help feed the hungry.
Speaking of John Cornack, John is one of the more giving people I've ever met in my life, giving his time, giving his efforts. If you're not familiar with the Eisenhower Center, I strongly recommend you go to their website. They're out there helping veterans and helping people with head trauma. If you visit their facility there in Ann Arbor, they have another one up north, one in Florida. They are exceptional people, and I mean that sincerely. John, why don't you come forward, please, and say a few words on Eisenhower.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Matt. Well, this is an easy one because when you look at what Meijer stands for, Simply Give, is kind of them stepping out, them taking the action, them feeding the people who need food. It's a beautiful thing. And Eisenhower does the same thing for the veterans. We don't ask questions of whether the care is good or bad. We just simply step out and make it happen for them. And when people ask us why, we say, well, that's not really a question, right? The action is what we do. So we love to take care of people. We love to take care of veterans. We want the women veterans to really be noticed, and we think this is a great way of making sure that they're seen as well. And their pathway is in many ways harder than the male veterans. And so we want to help them find a new pathway and a new growth pattern for their lives. And so that's really what we're all about. So how they simply feed those that need it, we simply help those that need it. And so we keep it that way. We keep it simple. It is a very difficult center to run, but we have passion and we live for it. And so that's really what we're here for. We love that Meijer is a partner. I mean, I think it's just amazing that they even wanted to hook up with us. So we appreciate that. Thank you, Kathy. But that's what it's all about. So if you want to see the most happy faces in the world, you need to come out and watch the veterans, meet the pros, meet the amateurs, and just really at that moment, they're just kind of living a life. And that's what we're trying to give back to folks. We're trying to give that smile back. So that's what Eisenhower's all about. We appreciate your time. Thanks. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Matt.
You can see why it's easy to get involved with these 2 companies. You can see why these people are great leaders, right? I mean, they really are. I mean, they go out there and they attack their jobs with great passion. It's special. It really is.
You know, I remember 6 years ago when we first executed our very first tournament, all of the excitement that we felt and all of the community support that we had. And I think this year, you know, we are geared up for it to be even bigger and even better, and we have so much in store. But most importantly, again, it's really all about Simply Give. And, you know, to date, the tournament has generated over $4.2 million.
Wow.
Through our 5th year, we really hope that we will hit $1 million and beyond this year, bringing that over $5 million. And so, you know, that's why we need everybody to join us. We want everybody to join us. Simply Give has supported the community since 2008. And in those 10 years, going into our 11th, we've had $48 million going to local food pantries right here in this community and across the state of Michigan and across the Meijer footprint. So this is really doing a lot of good for our friends and neighbors and people that you don't even know are hungry.
That's what it's about, man.
So
To any of the members of the media who are here, Darren is available for interviews. Mariah is available for interviews. John and Kathy are. I am not, because I'm not worth talking to. But just a reminder that the details around the Pro-Am events are in your press packets. If you have them, they're a nice red folder, well put together by Christine. We invite you to stick around for lunch and participate in Top Golf. Top Golf, I was here at an event last night. Phenomenal. I mean, you talk about an organization that's got its stuff together. This is a perfect place for you to have a company party or an event like this. So it's an honor for us to be here. Thank you for being here. Enjoy what you're about to experience out in Grand Rapids. You'll want to go back over and over and over again. Kathy and John, thank you very much. And Mariah, appreciate you coming out. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for being here.